Welcome to the WikiTree Google Hangout with AJ Jacobs. AJ is joined here by some members of the WikiTree team and the Global Family Reunion Project. These are the souls who were brave enough to be seen in the Hangout. I'm Awen, the WikiTree Forest Elf, and I'll be moderating our Hangout. We're going to start off with a few words by the world's biggest AJ Jacob fan, Leanne LeBois.
Hi everyone! Thank you all for joining us today for the 100 Degrees of AJ Hangout. I'm Leanne LeBois, the WikiTree Princess of Projects. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to introduce AJ Jacobs, who is here with us today to talk about the Global Family Reunion. AJ is an author and journalist, the editor-at-large at Esquire magazine, and the author of several books, including The Know-It-All, The Year of Living Biblically, and Drop Dead Healthy. For AJ's current project, he's turned to the world of online genealogy, where crowdsourcing makes it possible to build one worldwide family tree that connects us all. His efforts to find his connection to anyone and everyone are leading up to the Global Family Reunion to be held on June 6, 2015 in New York City, where he hopes to break the record for the largest family photo. Finding these connections is where WikiTree comes in. WikiTree has the same mission, connecting everyone in a worldwide family tree. To help AJ with his goal, WikiTree created the Global Family Reunion Project, which has been building the tree out from AJ in an effort to connect him to as many people as possible. So without further ado, WikiTree is happy to welcome AJ Jacobs. Good evening, AJ.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Leanne. Honored to be your cousin and Facebook friend. I love reading your updates. Well, I thought I would just start with just talk for maybe 10, 12 minutes about how this all came about, and then open it up to questions, because I'd love to hear what you guys want to hear. I mean, first of all, I just want to thank WikiTree and everybody who is part of this community, because literally my project could not exist without you guys and your passion and enthusiasm, and I'm just blown away, and I love it. And you know, I also, this call is not just, you know, I want to get your feedback on what I could be doing better, any ideas you have for the reunion, what what you'd like to see, activities, singers, you name it. So to back up just how this all came about is, about 7 months ago, I got an email from a guy in Israel who had read one of my books. I'm a writer. And he had read one of my books, and he said, "You don't know me, but I'm your 12th cousin. And I have a family tree with 80,000 people on it, including you, Karl Marx, and several European aristocrats." And part of me was like, all right, when's he going to ask me to wire him $10,000 to his Nigerian bank account? So I was a little skeptical. Then, as you know, I looked into it, and I became immediately hooked on genealogy. Such a fascinating field, and going through such an amazing time. And so I decided this was going to be my next book. I wanted to learn about my ancestors. I wanted to see where I came from, have something to tell my kids when they ask me about my heritage, and even more than that, see if I could figure out how I'm connected to everyone else in the world, because I do love this idea that we are all connected. So that I decided is going to be my project, and I love these big projects. As a writer, one of my books was about, I wanted to know more about religion. Because I grew up with very little religion. As I say in the book, I'm Jewish, but I'm Jewish in the same way the Olive Garden is Italian. So, not very. But no offense to the Olive Garden. But so for that one, I decided to learn about the Bible by living it, by actually following all the rules. So the 10 Commandments, but also no shaving the corners of your beard. And I didn't know where the corners were, so I just had this, I just let the whole thing grow and had this huge topiary hanging from my chin, and it was quite alarming. I'm trying to see if I have a copy, I'll get it in a second, but I look quite crazy. So I love taking on these big projects, and this seemed like perfect big project, way too big for me, which is why it's all about collaboration, as you know. And so one of the first things I did was I signed up for the Roots Tech conference in Salt Lake City, and I went there, and that's where I first got to meet some members of the team. You know, Chris and Leanne and Eowyn and Roland, and you know, I loved it. The first introduction was when there was a seminar, a panel, and Chris can verify this. I think the title of the panel was Crowdsourced Genealogy. Is it the root of all evil? Which I think Chris has ably proved that it is not the root of all evil. It has its drawbacks, but it's also got this tremendous, as you know, amazing potential. So he convinced me it's not the root of all evil. And ever since, I've been part of this Wikitree community and blown away by the passion and by all of the people on the Global Family Reunion Project, which is led by Abby and Aaron, and they've done amazing things. I don't know if you've been on it, but they have a tool where you can put your name in, and then it sees how you're connected to me, so that you can be part of this this Global Family Reunion. I also have been trying to drum up interest in this idea, because I need to get, as Leanne said, I need to get 5,000 people to come to this Global Family Reunion to break the world record. So I've been traveling around the country trying to meet cousins, and I went to Texas because I had met. I'm a Democrat. I live in New York City, but I had met. But I had met George H.W. Bush briefly, because I worked for. I did a speech for his foundation. He's got a foundation for literacy, and which I figure that crosses all political boundaries. And so I found out through you guys the link to George H.W. Bush, and I went down there and was able to interview him, tell him that he was also cousins with Bill Clinton, which he loved, and I took a photo of him with me holding up a sign saying, "I am a cousin." Another one I did to try to sort of drum up interest is Daniel Radcliffe, who is the actor in Harry Potter, and he had read one of my books, and so I sort of knew that maybe he would agree to meet me very briefly, which he did. And thanks to you guys, it was white knuckle, because I was meeting him on a Thursday, I think, and on a Tuesday I said, "Do you think we can figure out how he's related to the World Family Tree, and specifically to me?" And you guys did an amazing job of just tracking down his most obscure relatives. My own actual very close cousin, David Zuckerman, did some great work on that, as well as Abby and Aaron and Leanne and Tammy. So anyway, we found out how he was related. I think it was like 42 steps. And I showed it to him, and he was delighted. He loved it. He thought it was hilarious. And actually, I've been meaning to post this on the G2G forum, that he said, "I know this is a little creepy, but I would love to know how I'm related to my girlfriend." So, so that is a challenge. Erin Dark is her name, but I'll post that later. Anyway, my only big regret so far is that I have not had more time to devote to actually doing the genealogy, because when I do it, I love it. It's like a crossword puzzle. I get like this intellectual thrill from solving a clue, and I love trying to hold 8 different levels and relatives in my brain at once, and sort of doing this this tree in my head. So I love it, but I feel I haven't had time because I've been out trying to promote this. So I promise I will have more time soon to actually do genealogy and then contribute more to your amazing tree. And luckily I've gotten, people love this idea. They love the idea of a world family tree. So you guys have really stumbled onto something amazing. So we've been lucky enough to get some publicity in People magazine just came out, and there's a TED Talk I did about it, and Mental Floss, which I love, and Aowen told me she loves this magazine. I wrote an article about it for that. That one I'm very excited about because I was able to give a lot more space and credit to WikiTree and the WikiTree community. In some of these other ones, I don't have control. So like People magazine didn't even mention the names of any websites. So that was a little frustrating, and I apologize for that. But you know, I don't have control over what they write all the time. I try. I just thought I would just end very quickly by telling you why I think not to sound pretentious, but why I think what WikiTree is doing is so important. Because, I have gotten some people, when I tell them I'm working with these communities to build a world family tree, show you have millions of relatives. And some people, I'm sure you've gotten it, it's like, they're like, I have enough relatives as it is. I'm sick of the relatives I have. Why do I want another 5,000 relatives? So I have a couple of quick answers that I usually give them, and I'll go through them super quick. One is just the idea that it's going to be an amazing scientific tool. Like when we finish this tree, or even now, these scientists at MIT are using these massive collaborative trees to study how diseases are passed down, and I want to connect them with WikiTree and Chris to make sure that that you guys are involved. Second, I love the way it brings history to life. I think I'm 23 steps away from Albert Einstein, according to the 100 Degrees of AJ. So when I tell my kids that, they're like, now Albert Einstein's not just some old dead white guy with weird hair. He's Uncle Albert. So I love that aspect to it. I love the idea of the interconnectedness, how it shows that we are. You've heard the cliche since you were a kid, we're all one big family. But now, finally, thanks to WikiTree and collaborative genealogy, we can see how that's true. We can see how we are all connected, and that we're all descended from these same, I don't believe in the literal version of Adam and Eve, but scientists talk about the mitochondrial Eve and the Y chromosomal Adam, and we are all descended from these two people. And it blows me away. There's this one great paper by an MIT computer scientist that says he concluded that the farthest cousin you have on Earth is probably between the 50th and 70th cousin. And I can send you guys the link on that one. And my hope is, and this is a little quixotic, but I hope that when we realize how concretely we are all related, we'll be a little nicer to each other, a little kinder. And I know, that's not always the case. I have 3 sons, so I've seen how they fight and wrestle, so families don't always get along. But I also believe that when the people do treat their family members with a little more positivity than strangers, and also finally, I think it'll have a great democratizing effect, because once we realize we are all related, this idea of I'm a pure blood, or I am I'm descended from Mary Queen of Scots and you're not, so I'm better than you. That's going to be very hard to stick with once we realize how related we all are. So I love the idea of democratizing the world. So anyway, that's why I love it. And just to give you 1 minute on the Global Family Reunion event that I'm planning, and it's still in the planning stages, so I would love your input. But so far, we've got a date, as Leanne mentioned. It's June 6, 2015. Everyone in entire world is invited, 7 billion invitees, because we're all members of the human family. But if you can prove a link through the WikiTree 100 Degrees or some other way, then you'll get a little bracelet, and you'll be part of this biggest family photo. It's going to be part of a documentary by Morgan Spurlock, and it's going to who did Super Size Me, and it's going to. I'm writing a book about it. I'm hoping to make it really like festive. So I want music and comedy, and there'll be exhibits. There'll be a lot of talks about genealogy. I hope Chris will give one. I've already booked some great thinkers in this field. There's a guy named Steven Pinker, who is a Harvard professor, and George Church, who is a DNA expert at Harvard. So Chris will not speak. I just saw in the group chat, Chris will not be speaking. He is okay. Fair enough. But he had the invitation, just so he knows. But he will be there. Anyway, I'm excited. As I said, it's going to be a fundraiser for Alzheimer's. But I'm not, and I want it to be a $20 entrance fee. I'm hoping to find corporate sponsors. Well, someone in the WikiTree community suggested Coca-Cola, since they can bring the whole world together. But that is my idea, is to get them to pay for it and get them to raise the money for Alzheimer's, because I don't want people to pay. I'm certainly not making any money off of it. But I chose Alzheimer's, and because Tom actually had a great point about this and made me sound much smarter than I am. I chose Alzheimer's because it affected me personally, my family. My grandfather had it, and it was devastating. It's a genetic disease, so I thought it really fit into the family theme. But Tom had a great point that it was, if we can cure Alzheimer's, which I believe we can, we are within 10 years of doing it, then imagine how many more memories the elderly can pass on to our children about families and genealogy. So it's really just delightfully tied into genealogy. All right, that's my spiel. But I'm here. I would love to answer your questions and hear your ideas. So.
AJ, thank you so much for talking for a bit. Your enthusiasm is so contagious, and I just love it. It really, really helps push the whole project forward. So,
thank you, Ewan. And Eowyn is now, she appears as the WikiTree symbol, but I'm imagining.
So we'll go to some questions now, and we'll start with Tammy Glatz. She is one of our WikiTree team members. Go, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi, AJ. I had a question. I saw the cover or the article in People. I didn't read it yet, but I saw the cover page for it. And I was curious. In the article, the subtitle says that you're determined to make the world a kinder, gentler place by showing everyone that we're all related. Have you found in your experience so far that people are kinder once they find they're related to you? And how do you see establishing family relationships as influencing folks in general to be nicer to one another?
I do think that once we see how concretely how we're connected, that we will be nicer to each other. I have one very trivial example, but I found out how I was related to Judge Judy, the TV personality. And I had never been a fan of Judge. I always thought she was so obnoxious, yelling at these people, such a know-it-all. So, but then I found out I'm actually blood related, 11th cousins, four times removed, and it's changed my perspective. I'm like, you know what? Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. She probably is not, underneath all that bluster, she's probably a nice person. And I do think that that's going to happen more and more. And we're not all going to sing Kumbaya. World peace is not going to break out. But I do think it's going to push us towards the fact that, people like who say that a lot of the horrible things we've done as people is because we believe that some group is not part of the human race. We dehumanize them. And now you can't do that. We share 99.9% of our DNA, and more than that, we are part of the same family. So I do hope it nudges us towards more tolerance. I do think it will. We'll see. It'll be interesting at the Global Family Reunion. It could be like a massive brawl, like a gang.
Like a family reunion.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think so. I hope not.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Next, I think we'll go to Leanne, who introduced herself earlier. Go ahead, Leanne.
Okay. Who have you not found a connection to yet that you'd really like to find a connection to?
Well, that is a good question. I was just looking before to see some of my heroes. Albert Einstein. You guys found the connection there. Mark Twain, I love him. You found a connection there. Ben Franklin, you found. So you guys have already done an amazing job. As I mentioned earlier, I am trying to get these celebrities involved not because they're more interesting or more important, but the reality is that if you can get celebrities involved, more people will come to the reunion, more people will pay attention to the project and join Wicketry. So today I interviewed I work at Esquire magazine, so they do articles sometimes on attractive women. And I interviewed a model named Chrissy Teigen, who is married to the singer John Legend. And she's actually a wonderful, hilarious woman. I recommend her Twitter feed. It's so fun. And she's half Thai, half Norwegian. So but I looked her up, and there was certainly that was a challenge. She's not on Wicketry yet. So maybe her, so that we can get John Legend to sing at the family reunion.
That would be fun. Okay, next question. We will go to Abby Glenn. Abby's one of the leaders of the Global Family Reunion Project and one of our team members. Go, Abby.
Hi, AJ. I have a question that wasn't thought up earlier that actually came to me because I've been reading some of your books recently. I felt a little bit like a poser, not actually knowing who you were, but leading this giant project to find out who you're related to. And I wanted to know, how does Julie like this project compared to your other ones? Because I know sometimes she's not entirely thrilled with some of your activities that you do in order to get your material to write your book.
That is true. Yes. Thank you, Abby. And thank you for leading this with Erin. It's amazing. And by the way, thank you, too, for my knit cat. Abby is an amazing crafts person, and you should go on her website and buy some of her stuff because it's gorgeous. Yeah, one of my books, as I mentioned earlier, was about living by all the rules of the Bible. And in the Old Testament, there's some very strict rules about, for instance, purity. You're not allowed to touch women during certain times of the month. So I had to follow that. And if you follow the Bible really strictly, it says that you cannot sit on a seat where a menstruating woman is sat. And my wife found this offensive. So she sat in every seat in our apartment, and I had to sit in the entire. So obviously she had her issues with that one. This one she loves much better. I mean, she's really into genealogy and family heritage, and she's had a little bit of competitive. It's brought out the competitive nature in her because there's someone that she really likes, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. She wants it to be through her side, the connection, as opposed to my side. So there's a little competition there. But overall, I think she's delighted, and we love that has brought my sons and brought them interested in history. I think that's one of the biggest pluses.
Very cool. So the next question comes from Kyle Dane. He's not in the Hangout, but he is one of our WikiTreeers who is watching, and he has done awesome work with the Global Family Project and connecting people. And his question is, are you finding strong interest in the Global Family Reunion in any other online genealogy community?
Well, first, thank you, Kyle, because I love what you've been doing. The connections you made are amazing. I think I feel very lucky that I feel I sort of stumbled onto this at just the right time because, 5 years ago, WikiTree wasn't around, and in 15 years, everyone will know about it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be finished. We will have that World Family Tree. So I think this is the most exciting time, just when it's sort of starting and really blossoming. So I found interest in pretty much every internet area that I've gone into, and it's not because of me. I just happen to be the one who's talking about it at that time. But I think it's the idea that we're all connected. So yeah, Time Magazine just did an online piece. So I think the interest is high just because it's such a cool concept. Everyone can latch onto it. I don't know if that answered your question.
I think it did. I think next we'll go to Tom Shaw. Tom is another one of our WikiTree leaders, and his enthusiasm is pretty equal to AJ's, so go Tom.
Hi, AJ.
Hello, Tom.
As it turns out, we are 33 steps apart, and I got connected to you through our joint relative, Robert Frost, the poet.
Yes, I remember. I love that.
Nice, nice. My question for you is, have you submitted any samples for DNA analysis, and if so, did the results lead you to any new connections?
I have done, I've done a lot of different tests. I've done the 23andMe, and I did the family tree DNA and Ancestry thing. So I'm slowly loading them onto WikiTree, and I know that Chris and the team have a very exciting DNA project that they're going to announce soon. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but it's very exciting, sort of really helping you see how DNA can confirm. I am, as I say, I'm sort of behind the curve in that I've been spending all this time trying to I'm like an event organizer, like talking to people about, security and lines. But I did find the most exciting thing I found through DNA analysis was the 23andMe. I took it and I made my wife take it, and it came up in our list of cousins. It said Julie Jacobs, that's my wife's name, distant cousin. So we are officially DNA related, and we've heard every bad hillbilly joke, and kids have 3 arms. We're fine. But it's a distant. And also, there's a fascinating statistic by an anthropologist at Rutgers who said that 80% of marriages throughout history in the human race have been second cousin or closer. I'm not sure how he got that, but it's Rutgers, so it's not like he's a crazy person. And he and you do look at history, and you had Edgar Allan Poe married his cousin, you had Winston Churchill, FDR, so I feel I'm in decent company.
That is awesome. Okay, next we're going to go to Chris Whitten. For those of you who don't know, he's our WikiTreeer-in-Chief. Go, Chris.
Thank you, Eowyn, and thank you again, AJ. This was really great. I think that was, I'm so glad that we're doing this.
Me too.
There are a couple of questions that people submitted that I don't think have been asked yet, and I want to make sure that people who weren't able to attend get to ask their questions. There's the question from Michael Stills about whether you feel there's an untapped need for knowing one's family history in the general populace, so not among genealogists. Like, do you feel this untapped need?
Well, I think it's certainly, whenever I bring up the idea of family or genealogy, like, everyone has a story to tell. So they all start talking about their family. So everyone loves it. And I guess I think people don't, the big the untapped thing is that they don't realize that there are these amazing online tools like Wikipedia where you can have millions of people helping you out. So I think that's a big untapped need, as opposed to the interest. The interest is there. And, you know, this, I think, is, and I read a Business Week article, and it had this statistic, which I actually don't trust 100%, but I loved it anyway. It said that that genealogy is the second most popular internet search topic, right after porn. And you can't beat porn. So that that might sound weird taken out of context, but genealogy, whether or not that's true, I think everyone has an interest in their relatives, where they came from.
Yeah, definitely. So AJ, one of our Wikitreers, Dan Bodenheimer, just posted, and he wanted to let you know that Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1965, is your second great-aunt's nephew's wife's uncle's wife's first cousin's wife's first cousin's wife's nephew.
I love it. I feel smarter already. I'm a big fan of that. I love that guy. I mean, that's awesome. So thank you. I mean, I love being connected to these historical figures. It just puts you really it gives you the context and realize, you know, these are people. These are not just these abstract ideas. And of course, it's a double-edged sword because, yeah, I may be related to Richard Feynman, but I'm also related to Jeffrey Dahmer. So, you know, you got to take the good and the bad. And of course, one of the fun things I love about genealogy is everyone says, oh, you know, I'm a descendant of Catherine the Great or whatever. But no one ever says, you know, I'm also descended from thousands of washerwomen and horse groomers and what have you. So it's very interesting that we sort of just focus on the one or two relatives that we want to. But I'm interested in them all. I love the idea that we can learn about history from learning about the lives of the so-called, you know, ordinary people. So that's another thing I love about the genealogy.
Very cool. All right, next question. We're going to go back to Tammy.
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't ready with another question. Skip me for now and come back.
I'll ask a question then. This one comes from Billy Wallace. He's one of our Wikitree leaders, and he submitted this ahead of time. He said, do you think the event might be considered for submission to the Who Do You Think You Are TV program?
Oh, I would love it. I have enjoyed that. I don't know what, you know, I'm a beginner, and I thank you guys for bearing with me. So I don't know what the really expert genealogists think of that show, but I like it. I enjoy watching it. And I saw the one with Jerry Springer, and I teared up. I could not believe that I was getting emotional about Jerry Springer. But I did. It's this amazing Holocaust survivor story. So anyway, I'm a fan, so I would love it. I know that I think they're aligned with Ancestry.com, which is not as involved in this project because they are not as into the collaborative, crowdsourced. They're more into the idea that everyone can have their own little tree, and just focus on that. But we'll see. I mean, we're getting a lot of interest. I'm delighted to say that that Good Morning America is going to do a segment next week on the Global Family Reunion. And actually, the project itself helped out because they're having me try to go up to celebrities and accost them and say, hey, I'm your cousin. So then one of the guests is Mark Wahlberg. So you guys have been able to figure out how Mark Wahlberg is my cousin. Just like, I think it's like 33 steps away. Nothing.
Thanks. Okay, Tammy, back to you.
Okay, Michael Stills sent in this question, and I thought it was rather interesting. He says the idea of One World Tree has been around for some time, and a lot of people balk at it or discredit it. Yet WikiTree has done wonders in recent years to combat that attitude, and he thinks, of course, that we have the best approach to build the One World Tree where we connect to one another. With all the enthusiasm and excitement about connecting to a heretofore unknown person, it feels like you, AJ, have tapped into something big. Besides WikiTree, do you feel there is yet an untapped need for knowing one's family history in the general populace? So I'm kind of reading that as, why do you think people are having this need or feel to want to connect to one another?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think to me, family is the most important thing, and I love it. And this is a little off topic, but to me, right now, family is a fascinating, going through a very fascinating time because the definitions are changing faster than ever. Because you've got gay marriage and sperm donorship and open adoption. So it's really changed from where it was 30 years ago. And that's part of why I like the idea of not just having, we're all blood relatives, as I said, probably 50th cousins, but a lot of the connections through WikiTree are through in-law, through marriage, which I find just as fun because I do think that if you only focus on blood relatives, you know, what do you do with adoption? What do you do with what genealogists call non-paternal events, which are when the presumed father is not the actual father? I love that euphemism, non-paternal events. So to me, family is much bigger than just blood. It encompasses so much. But anyway, I don't think that answered the question, but that was on my mind.
Works for me.
No. Okay, back to Abby for another question.
So we know that one of the main goals of this project, AJ, is obviously the reunion itself and the book and the documentary, but what do you plan on doing with all of this information, all of these connections beyond the reunion? You know, you've set up one. Are there going to be more? Are you going to continue with the research? There's a lot of possibilities, or is it just going to kind of drop off?
I'm hoping that if this is a success, which fingers crossed, thanks to you guys, I think it will be. I want to keep doing it. I want to do it every couple. I don't think I can do it the next year, but I want to do it every couple of years. And you know, I don't have to be. I'll happily have other people take over. I just love the idea of getting thousands of people together. And you know, one of the things that I think will be fun is when people get there and they can, you know, they can enter maybe 8 or 10 of their relatives on WikiTree, and maybe even there, by that time, we'll be able to connect them to another person at the reunion. If not at this reunion, then maybe at the next one. So I love that idea. Two people come together, they meet, they're like, oh, how are we related? I wonder. And then they go and they figure it out. And, you know, when in the age of Google Glass, you can just maybe look at someone in 10 years and be like, hey, 14th cousin, how you doing? So I love that idea. Some people find it terrifying and a total invasion of privacy. I think it's fun.
So just to follow up on that question, because Billy Wallace asked about it in the comment section, do you have any plans to travel outside of the United States and maybe meet some of your more international cousins?
I would love to, and in fact, that is in my book proposal, so I better do it or I'll get in trouble. You know, one of the things I want to do is to go to Poland because a lot of my family has roots in Poland. And I did hire a more traditional genealogist to help me with that. You know, I do think there's room for both the collaborative genealogy and also the sort of more traditional ones who just go and you know, focus on one small part of your family. So yeah, I would love to go to Poland. One of the things in the book proposal is that I go to Africa to see, you know, where my great continue that 5,000 times grandfather was born. So yes, I would love to go abroad, but the crazy thing is I don't think I'm going to be able to do it before this reunion, because it is I'm totally overwhelmed. I never realized how hard it is to put on an event like, you know, 5,000 people, and I don't have a staff, so it's you know, except for you guys.
Yeah,
anyway,
you've got to be really busy. Okay, we're going to go back to Chris for another question.
Thank you, Eowyn. AJ, I wanted to ask you what your least favorite thing about Wikitree is.
Least favorite thing about Wikitree? That's... Well, can I say the things I love first to soften it so you guys aren't offended? I mean, I love...
First.
What's that?
Good, yeah, go through the long list of good things first.
All right, the good things, I mean, among the many good things, I love the community. Chris, you talked to me about this. Like, to make something like this work, you really have to have a core community of passionate people like yourselves. It can't just be a free-for-all. I love the discussions on the G2G. I love the biographies. I love to read the profile of the week and learn about, you know, Theodore Roosevelt III. I never knew anything about him. And well, I will say, I mean, maybe the one thing that I hope to see in the future is just a little bit of a prettier interface. I know that's a challenge because you are working like me with, you know, without a huge corporation. But I will say, I mean, already I've seen exciting strides in this. Like, you guys in the 100 Degrees of AJ have now a wonderful. We just redesigned. I know, it's great. It's great. I told you. You didn't even get no question. What do you want? It's lovely. But anyway, the 100 Degrees of AJ already has this gorgeous thing which shows very visually how you are connected. So I imagine that will be, you know, in a couple of years, not just for me, but 100 degrees of anyone. I just happen to be the guinea pig because I'm throwing this reunion. Anyway, so that's it. You threw me to the wolves on that one. But any small quibble I have is outweighed by my love of Wikitree, which I think is an amazing site and community.
Well, thank you for that, AJ. We're going to go to Leanne, who has another question.
We were wondering what tips you might have for people who are just starting out researching their ancestry.
Well, one of my biggest tips is to connect with someone like you or Abby or Tammy, because they are so helpful in guiding genealogical idiots like myself. So that's my biggest tip. And another tip, I mean, what I love now is that you the bar of entry is so low because you can do so much on the internet. You know, you still can not do everything on the internet. You still sometimes have to go to the courthouse, but there's so much available on the internet. It's really mind-blowing. And what else? Well, one thing, when we were trying to track down a connection to I think it was to Daniel Radcliffe, David Zuckerman taught me about the strategy of Facebook, which I never thought of. You know, I've been looking at the traditional, the census records and whatever, and obituaries. But if you go on Facebook, you can often look at their friends and see who has the same last name, and then click on that, and you can build out a network through that. So I thought that was very tricky, but very, very useful.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to go back to Tammy, who has a comment.
I have a comment and a question from Drew Smith. He is an author also, and he's one of the half of the Genealogy Guys podcasters. And Drew says that one thing that will definitely draw people to your reunion more than a typical family reunion is the fact that nobody will be there to say, you put on weight or your hair is grayer. But Drew also has a question. He wants to know if there will be a prize for the person who travels the farthest to attend the family reunion.
Oh, for sure. I want to do some. I mean, but that'll be interesting. We got to figure out who that is. I mean, one of my dreams is to have someone from every continent there, including Antarctica, because there are 5,000 people who live in Antarctica full year-round. So if we can get one of them, that would be ideal. Another one, a literal moonshot, is to get someone from the space station, and
Wow.
they would Skype in or something like that. But then we could have it be like an not just a global family reunion, an extra global family reunion.
Very cool.
Okay, we're going to go back to Abby, who has a question from one of our viewers.
Mags Golden, one of our wiki treers, wanted to know if you've met with much resistance when trying to contact some of those celebrity cousins.
I have had, no one has been like, that's outrageous, you're not my cousin, you are like, but I have sent a lot of emails that just go into a black hole. You know, I wrote an article for the New York Times about this project, and in the article I said, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow has yet to return my calls. So to make that true, I actually had to call her, or her publicist, and there was no call back. But it's been fun to see that there have been a lot of celebrities who have embraced it. And when I tell people about these sites like, you know, Wikitree, and they are so fat, Nick Offerman, who is, you know, he's not a huge star, but he's on Parks and Recreation, a hilarious sitcom. He plays Ron Swanson. Anyway, he was all over it. He loved it. And he's like, really? Can you connect to millions of people? That's amazing. So I think we will get some. In fact, I know we've already gotten celebrities who have agreed to come.
That is fantastic and exciting. Okay, we're going to go back to Chris, who has a question from another one of our viewers.
Thank you, Eowyn. I saw that Mary Hammond asked in the chat about the Middle East and whether you've looked at trying to bring peace to the Middle East, I guess.
Yes, I think this is it. This is the solution. Well, I am fascinated to see how, you know, people from one group will react when they just see how closely they are linked to the others. You know, the Hatfields and McCoys, they're all intertwined, you know. And if you show them that, if you could have shown them that, would that have made a difference? I don't know, but maybe it would have made them a little more tolerant. So that would be lovely. You know, maybe we'll hold the next one in Jerusalem and then, you know, solve that crisis.
That would be great. Bob Fields, who is another one of our Wikitree leaders, and he is helping lead the Notables project, which is helping us connect more of the famous people and their profiles on Wikitree. He asked, who's your oldest documented ancestor?
That is a great question, and Abby might actually know better than me. I mean, I just looked up Ben Franklin. He's pretty old. I mean, my cousin, as you know, my first cousin once removed married a very, I'm Jewish, as I mentioned, but this this cousin married a very waspy guy who goes all the way back through the Mayflower, so I love being a sort of stepson of the Revolution. But I don't know. I would love to know, Abby, do you have any idea who the oldest person is?
Not off the top of my head, and unfortunately my connection doesn't allow me to go around too much, but I'm guessing that it's got to be royalty in Europe at this point because we have so much of WikiTree connected to you. So if you ask maybe Kathy Patterson, we'll have to get in touch with her. See, she's the leader of our European Aristocracy project, and we'll find which one of our major kings that's connected to everyone. She would be able to tell us, but I don't think our connection finder really just throws that out at us yet. You have to kind of surf around and look at it. Your line directly, though, I know that we have you back to some Russian rabbis, and I think that line is well into the 1500s or 1600s.
Right. Yes, I did know that one was. That was one of the few things I knew before I started about this project. The rabbis kept very good. They kept very. Oh, Chris says it's David Ashkenazi, born 1570. Love it, Rabbi Ashkenazi. Anyway, yeah, the rabbis thankfully kept very good. I haven't researched it enough, but I did read that the Chinese genealogy is amazing, and that it goes back 40, 30 generations. So hopefully, as WikiTree expands and we connect to other continents, we do have some Asian representation, but I imagine in the future it'll be bigger. So that'll be fun to see which culture keeps the best records, which culture is able to go back the farthest.
Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps up the questions and answers. We're going to go back to Abby, and she's going to tell us a little bit about our Global Family Reunion project.
Well, our project is focused right now on connecting as much of WikiTree as we can to AJ, but one of the fantastic side effects we found is that we're connecting everybody to everybody else as well, which is really cool. And I think someone mentioned earlier that we have well over 60% of WikiTree connected at this point, and that's a massive tree in the millions. And one thing that is fantastic is that we have this huge group in the Global Family Reunion Project that is constantly making new connections. So anyone who's listening today, watching at any time, super easy to get involved with Reunion. You just go to WikiTree, sign up, start putting your family in, your parents, your grandparents, what you know about them. And from there, ask in G2G if you need help with research, and we can help you find a connection really easily. Fantastic researchers, too many to name, but it's not hard. And then if you want to help us do some research, because I know there's fantastic researchers out there that are not helping us yet, you can go ahead and look up our Global Family Reunion Project. It's easy to find if you click on the project's link once you're in your WikiTree profile, or you can get in touch with AJ. I know AJ passes his information along to us pretty readily, and I'm sure he could give us his email that he should use. He has several, so I'm not sure which one he wants to use off the top of his head there. Or you can look me up on WikiTree. I'm Brown8212. That's my profile, and I will gladly help guide you through getting you all set up as far as what you can do to help the reunion research, what you can do to help find your family. Lots of super helpful people. So really easy. Just sign up, log in, start asking questions, and someone will step up to help you. And everyone is welcome. We will find your connection one way or another. I think a lot of us like the challenge.
Fantastic, Abby. Thank you very much. We're going to go back to AJ. Do you have any last words for us?
No, just thank you again, not to be repetitive. Thank you to all my cousins and all my cousins, those we've linked to and those we are going to link to in the next few months, which is everybody. And I am so excited about this, and I think it's going to be fun. And again, everyone is invited, even if we can't find a link to you in time. And if you do have any further questions or thoughts or suggestions or complaints, please feel free to email me directly. The easiest email I have is aj@ajjacobs.com, aj@ajjacobs.com. And there's also the website for the Global Family Reunion, which links to WikiTree many times, but that's at globalfamilyreunion.com, globalfamilyreunion.com.
Well, thank you, AJ. A super, super big thank you for hanging out with us here in this chat. I also want to thank everyone who participated with us, and a super, super huge thank you to all of our WikiTreeers, because it's because of your time and your dedication that we are able to accomplish any of this at all. So thank you very much.